Welcome to the Grow and Expand with S podcast, the #1 podcast for female founders and entrepreneurs ready to create wildly successful businesses without sacrificing that freedom-based lifestyle that they started it all for. At the Grow and Expand with S community, we claim everything our heart desires from our highest self next level identity. That is the version of us that is free from our current limiting beliefs, our fears, and our self-sabotaging patterns that hold us back. Things like control, things like pressure, things like lack and scarcity mindset, those are all current self-identity patterns. And our higher self version knows that we are limitless. And when we create from her and we set our visions and our intentions, and as we take aligned step by aligned step, we work through any pattern that's contradictory to that and smash it out and work through it, release it. That's what we do here at the Grow and Expand with S community. And that's how we create those wildly successful businesses without sacrificing the freedom. That's the caveat there. So looking at it a different way, anybody can create something successful. Anyone can follow a blueprint. Everyone can follow a formula. And if you do something long enough and you push enough and you grind enough, then to an extent, success is inevitable. But that's not what my clients and the women in my circle are interested in. They are interested in having that freedom-based lifestyle where they get to do the things that they want when they want it, that lights them up in a way that feels natural to them. And we know that we haven't been conditioned necessarily to believe that's possible. But we also know that we can challenge the status quo. And yeah, it's one of the most exciting parts of the journey. And over the last month, I've actually challenged that status quo in an area that I think every single female entrepreneur, any entrepreneur to be honest, but then definitely female entrepreneur as well, has experienced and will be able to relate to. And that is social media and the god-awful job of fucking posting on social media, right? Like it is just, I'm sure we've all been there and have a bit of a love-hate relationship with it because it's so easy to get caught up in what you see everyone else is doing. And it's so easy to get caught up on what you should be doing and how you should be communicating. And there's this framework, there's this plug and play, there's these 6 recommended hooks that's currently going viral. And like by the fucking end of it, you are so out of your creative flow and out of your authentic blueprint and energy, trying to orchestrate and fit into these things that you're told and can see works for others, that it's tiring and it's overwhelming and it doesn't serve. And so earlier this month, I did an experiment. I've never been incredibly big on social media. My business in Toowoomba, a lot of people knew me. My work came in through referrals. And it's only since moving to Perth at the start of this year that I've really had to start to amp up my social media game. And for the start of it, I kind of did. I brought the hustle to it. And I brought yes, give me this framework or give me this plug and play. And yes, I want these viral hooks. And oh, what are these semi-cues, like put lipstick on or whatever. But it didn't take long before I just felt like it drained the shit out of me. I wasn't energized. I didn't enjoy it. I felt like pressure and anxiety almost in my chest, if I had to describe it. And so I was probably around May when I had the download, because that's how working with your higher self works. There's this higher wisdom that comes through, but then it's up to your current self to execute, which is the hard bit, because then all those fears or those doubts or those limiting beliefs come in that keep you from it. Anyway, so I had the download. Shanae, what are you doing? You have always said that you are the blueprint, you are the energy, and yet in social media, you are absolutely going outside of yourself. So go and be guided by your highest self. And I started to play around with what that might look like and did a bit here and there. And then the month of August was where I went, no, I'm going to get serious about this because it isn't in alignment. How I'm going about my social media is not in alignment. And yes, it's working. I've consistently grown since I've started, but I can't accept growth at the expense of my ease and my energy and my creativity. I didn't settle for that in business and in income. Why would I settle for that in social media marketing? Anyways, what happened was phenomenal. So I sat down and just tapped into my highest self, which my process for doing that is really setting the environment and getting it right, and then getting the music and the high frequency music going. And then just embodying that highest version that naturally comes to me in the setting. So in this instance, it was social media and showing up online and marketing. And then just really tapping into that freedom. There's no limits here. There's no failure. You are limitless and anything is possible. What is come from your heart? What is going to be joyful? What feels expansive? What lights you up? What makes your heart feel warm? And then what would that look like? And so then I just journal, right? Whatever comes through for me, I just journal. And they were almost like principles that came through. And I called them my higher self energetic blueprint for marketing. And I don't know how many they are. We're going to go through them in a second, but let's say 7 or whatever principles that I then wrote down. And I was like, cool, I can see why this feels very good. This feels very good. Like when I read those things, I went, whoa, if that worked, like that was the feeling. It was a sigh of relief. It was pressure off. It felt expansive. It felt good. It felt sexy almost, right? It's weird. I can't really describe it, and so I'm like, great. I know I'm in alignment with this. And then the human self, the current self-identity comes in. Who are you, Shanae, to not follow what the experts say? Look at those other accounts that has all these followers. Who are you? This has been tested. You silly girl, you think you're different to people that's been testing this and developed this with evidence and experience, which is like that logic versus kind of the creative queen, right? So anyways, luckily I can now recognize at the moment I make a commitment to my higher self, my current self dialogue will start kicking in, all fear-based, non-expansive, none-feel-good, to try and sabotage me. So anyways, I committed to following these principles for the month of August. Now, the results has been phenomenal, like so good. So I want to share some of those results with you. And yeah, it's just amazing. So it's not the end of August yet. We're on the 25th of August as I'm recording this, but be that as it may, close enough is good enough. So followed it to a T. One of the things that also came through is for the last month, everyone's hide your likes if you want the algorithm to push you or something like that. So total bullshit, because you'll hear my stats. They're all up by a fucking mile. And I didn't hide my love hearts. Like all my likes are there for everyone to see. So I'm going to keep showing them to the world because that works for me. Then, okay, so here's some data. So my views increased by 1,264.7%. That's crazy. And 91.9% were non-followers, which is obviously the goal for growth. Only 5.5% were from ads. And I'll obviously put like a little screenshot up for evidence, but this is important to know. Every month I run about $200-300 worth of ads. That's it. And nothing changed in that strategy. I do that every month. I did it this month. Okay, so that's the views. Interactions. 1,125 interactions. 60.8% from non-followers compared to the same period the month before of 260 interactions. So 24.2% there were from non-followers. I gained 149 followers, which was 8.3% more than the same period the month before. And on average, my likes went from about 7 to 15. How cool is that? So that matters. So I want to hone in on this. That matters because not only, number one, did I have the most fun isn't necessarily the word because some of the content, and you'll hear why when you hear what came through to me in terms of what I had to post, wasn't always like necessarily fun content, but it was the easiest it has ever been. It was so easy. It was so quick. It was so natural that it took nothing almost, like 10 minutes every 3-4 days. No planning, no thinking, no strategizing, no obsessing, no nothing. It was literally just so organic that it felt like I was cheating in some weird way. So I've distilled this down into what I call now my highest self energetic social media marketing blueprint. So I'm going to take you through the principles that came through for me. And this is just how to post, right? It doesn't include things like the love heart. Like when I went to hide the likes, something in me was like, no, leave it up. So I've left that up. It doesn't include those types of things. So, number one, kind of came down to, I try to get creative with the wording, leading with heart, not a plan. So here what came through is I am the energy, I am the blueprint, I am the framework, and I am the strategy. I have always been that. I have seen that time and time again, no matter what I've done. So why would social media be different? So fuck the rigid formulas and content plans and logic. And the moment you try to find, like, you're engineering yourself to fit something that's outside of yourself, you know you're off course. Then when do I post? When you feel the pull, when you feel the pulse, when you feel that heart rate spike up, when you get that download, that's when you post. And never, ever a different time. Don't ever go, I want to sell out this event. So, I shouldn't say never, ever. The post shouldn't be, okay, I want to sell this out. Now, what do I need to do around this? Obviously, we're always going to have some form of that. So that's not what I mean. By and large, that's how I had been posting. I had tried to be strategic and logical about it. And what would my target market client want? And reverse engineering it into hooks and following other people's what had worked, etc. This was no. When you get that pull, when you get that lit upness, when you get that heart activation, you feel that kind of energy and the download, that's when you post. So a tricky part here that I had to work through energetically is the periods when it's not happening. The dialogue in my mind's, oh shit, like I haven't posted for a couple of days. What are people thinking? And I'm like, Shanae, remember, no one's watching you. It doesn't matter what people are thinking. You're not on anyone else's clock. You don't show up because you owe someone something. You show up because you have something that you're passionate about sharing. But that was a tricky bit for me. So then too, the second thing that came up was post while that lit upness is alive. So this is different to how I usually work because I'm quite structured in when my kids are with me, I don't post. When I'm on holidays, I don't post. When it's weekends, I don't post. I pre-plan, obviously, but I don't. Like, this challenged me to go outside boundaries I'd already set for myself. And it was literally when you feel that when it's most active in you, that's when I'm most magnetic. That's when you're most magnetic. That's when it's most alive in an energetic frequency sense. So that's when you do the post or as close in time to that as possible. And so that's what I did. Again, the challenge was, shit, I'm at home with my kids. Or I was like, I'm in a healing retreat. I'm going through something so vulnerable. I can feel the download to share on this. Oh, human current self doesn't really want to, and how's this going to look, and all those kind of stories we tell ourselves. And then just, no, Shanae, you made the commitment. This is what your higher self said. And anyways, the results speak for themselves. Okay, so number 3 was say the things that others are afraid to say and show the things that others are afraid to face. And how to do that is basically the first thing that pops up, your first natural instinct in what that urge is, that's the one you post. You don't dilute, you don't tweak, you don't go, oh, but maybe this or maybe that or that, or like you don't. Like, what was that first bit? That's the one you post. That's the angle. Okay? And that might not be the angle that you settle on for the rest of your life. But that's an live urge and angle that is being birthed through you right now. That's the magnetic shadow element almost that people are feeling and facing and struggling with, but they're not necessarily voicing. So that's where that pull lies. And so that was also like really cool and really challenging because what I mostly did was just I didn't overthink. Usually I would plan my posts and then as I'm planning them, I'm definitely thinking a little bit about, is this target client going to resonate, or is this communicating it kind of logically enough, or how do I link this back so that it makes sense, like the old lawyer in me. Whereas for this, like the urge is my emotions and my energy, right? Like my opinion, my truth. And so just turn that camera on, which, by the way, is one of those other things. I didn't write this down, but I felt called not to go away and do it in carousels or static posts necessarily. There were a couple, but most of the time I felt called for face-to-face camera. Get on the camera and just say it. Just say it. And so then it was so quick and it was so easy. And like I could feel it in my body afterwards because it's different. It's the most authentic and the most expressive and just unfiltered I've shown up. So you feel it in your body. But then you regulate through it. And my breath work and energy clearing, that's what I do for 5-10 minutes. Every time it comes up, I clear it out. And then I got such positive responses, so many interactions, so many people reaching out, so many people getting inquisitive, that obviously then that helps even more build the evidence in the trajectory. So that was another one. Then the fourth one was inform, don't convince. And so I really realized that as it was coming through, I could really energetically connect into the fact that I show up with so much enthusiasm because I'm so enthusiastic and so passionate about high self-identity. It has just been such a game changer for me. But that sometimes my energy or my enthusiasm and my passion can cross the line to convincing. And so I don't know whether you can hear it when I say it, but I can connect into the difference. And so the real thing that came through for me was when you are posting, speak your truth exactly as you've experienced, exactly as the path you've walked. Speak it as passionately as possible. I should have been an Italian in a previous life. Speak it passionately and then stop. So you're informing from that space. You're not convincing. You're not anxious attachment. You're not trying to go but justifying or over-explaining or like the lawyer in me wants to stack the evidence. Nah, fuck it. Like you share your truth, you inform that bit and you leave it. And then lastly, what came through was, again, that piece that it's really, there's not a right or a wrong post. There's not a word or a sentence that you could say or couldn't say. I am already the energetic being. Like I've already up-leveled in my highest self-identity multiple times. And so when I just show up, that is it. However that is the energy, that is the embodiment, that is the piece. And so however that comes across, it will activate, connect, and engage the right people. And so all the overthinking does is dilute it. And so from that space, so lead with your heart, not the plan. Show up when that heart activation is alive, when that passion is at its most potency. Say the things that others are afraid to say or show what others are afraid to face. So basically don't filter at all. Like whatever that first thing is, that's the bit to go to. Inform passionately as you want, but don't convince. And then you are it. You are the energetic blueprint. So you just have to document your life basically and your thoughts and what happens and how you think about it, etc. And so then that is really natural. That is really aligned. That is really easy. That is really quick. That has just been so magnetic. Let me bring up my stuff. Like it's been crazy. And just the likes and the followers. And I've just already sold some of my Breathe and Expand event tickets, which I've been so excited about because I changed studio. So I'm going solo on this one, which is how I've done it a lot of the times. But I changed from Scarborough to Fremantle. Anyway, so look at this, like 34 likes. Now, none of my posts usually got 34 likes. Then 24 likes, 23 likes, 22 likes, 14 likes, 21 likes. This 21 likes was literally like a 7-minute video. The algorithm when I went to post this kind of told me, are you sure you want to post this? It's too long form. And I was, yep, I'm just posting it. Who cares if it doesn't get likes? Like 21, 5 comments. If you've got 24.1K followers, this doesn't look big. But what's big is you go back a month on my profile, and everyone can do this themselves if they want to fact check. and you look and it's just literally 12, 7, 4. So anyways, for me, it was just so awesome. And what I really wanted to hone in on is that knowledge, that wisdom, that strategy that was already within me. That was within me. All it took was me to use the tools I know, the techniques I know, to tap into it and then to follow it, for my current self to follow it. And that is obviously the grow and expand with ACE methodology. That's obviously what I've done a million times over in so many kind of areas. And so that's certainly what I did now with social media, and what a hack. So if you're interested to work with me so that I can guide you so that you can tap into that higher self-identity version of yours and you can extract your own blueprint, because it won't necessarily be the same as me. We all have our own unique gifts and strengths and energy and blueprint. And so some of these things you might have felt a connection with, some you might not have, but really no one is the same. We are all unique. We are all different. And so it's about you tapping into that higher self-identity that you've got and extracting that wisdom, and then getting clear on what your biggest block is and your biggest resistant point is in actually walking that path and then working through that. I would love to invite you to reach out to me for my Breakthrough and Rise session, which is a 3-hour session where we do just that. If you loved this podcast and if this has sparked you up and you have found it useful, then please make sure that you like, comment, and share it with someone. Share it with someone who's currently no doubt going through the social media battle, so that they too can remember that we cannot create lives that are aligned with our most authentic truth when we're trying to live it outside of ourselves. It's always within us, and it's always available through our highest self-identity. Thank you so much for joining me today for this episode. I hope everyone has a beautiful week, and I can't wait for the next episode.